What's good, guys? So I wanted to get the boys out of the way because I've been seeing a lot of negative reviews, mixed reviews, and when I watched it, I actually thought that it was okay. I thought it was fine. The entire season 5 was pretty decent, and then I came and watched the finale with no prejudice from whatever was being said about it online, and then I enjoyed it. And then when I went ahead and read the comments, I was thinking, you know what? Maybe they do have a point. So I wanted to look back on some season 5 scenes just to see if the internet was right and I was wrong, or maybe everyone's just tripping and it's actually a it's actually like a decent ending. So yeah, let's get into that. So spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. Yeah, I always thought that A Train would have a redemption arc. I think they've been doing this for like 3 seasons now. They've been working on this for a while. So for him to die like this, especially here, because this is how it all started, with him running over Huey's girlfriend. So for him to avoid this random chick shows that he's redeemed himself. He's changed. He's basically made up for what he did in the first seasons and everything else. So I thought they did A Train right. I have no complaints with A Train's his fate in this season. But for this chick, let's see this. That's so weird to ask. For anyone that doesn't know, she's the actress in Detroit Become Human. Yeah, so I thought that she was actually gonna get him, actually gonna manipulate him in this scene, and then she dies. Yeah, so this was a pretty brutal death, but I didn't think number one, I didn't think she deserved it. Number two, I wanted her to make a, like have a fight with him, the way she fights, politically and stuff. So I hope that she would make a bigger stand than this. But I guess they had to like get someone, like get someone killed in the first few episodes. Well, that's where it went. So for me, Firecracker with the how many seasons? Like two or three, maybe two. I don't think they did her well here. It was honestly a waste. She was gonna turn on Homelander, and then they didn't even give her a chance. It's like the same thing with Black Noir in the last season. So whole season was lame. Let's see. And here we have the deep killing Noir, which was weird. No cap
Plenty
on
of fish
God,
in the
bro.
sea,
Yeah, but this
but most
Black
of them are
Noir
fucking
actor
dead.
was an asshole. Yeah, I was
Fish won't
rooting
count
for
as
the Deep
funny, bro.
in this. It was a
Alright,
waste. The
so
Deep
let's
was
record this.
justified in killing Noir. Homelander didn't even care about this guy. I thought the bro talk was lame. I don't think people talk like that. But I think this was the Deep's first time killing a human. Yeah, that was the Deep's first time killing a human. So his reaction was right. Black Noir's beef was the entire season was only with the Deep, so I don't give a fuck. It's fine. Now this was a character that I
When I
did
was a little
not
girl, I had this
like.
dog, Peaches.
Sister
He
Sage. Yeah.
died.
I
I
don't
was
like
riding the school bus.
smart characters.
He
Kimiko is
finally
so
fucked him.
so hot. This
Anything
actress
to keep him from being
is so
happy.
good looking. Yeah, so this basically just shows that Kimiko can like blast the shit.
So,
Yeah, okay. This
wow.
this
And
character fucking sucks. Okay. The problem with this character is she was written to be smart, even though number one, she's not smart. Number two, the writers aren't smart. So you can't really portray as a character as being smart if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So let's give an example. Let's compare it with someone like Light Yagami from Death Note, or Lelouch from Code Geass. These characters are written to be smart. They're shown to be smart, and they show the planning phase and how they respond to other characters, to situations. For Sister Sage, all that happens is stuff happens, and then she says, "Oh, it's all according to plan." Oh yeah, that's exactly how. That is some lazy fucking writing that doesn't show her being a good planner, her being a good manipulator. Well, I guess she does kind of manipulate them a little bit, but that's only because the other characters are fucking stupid. Okay, if the other characters weren't so gullible and dumb and naive, I don't think they would be manipulated by Sister Sage. let's see. Sister Sage never once in the show manipulates any member of the boys. She doesn't manipulate Starlight, Huey, or any of the boys. Everyone she manipulates is from the Seven and Homeland, which are all like susceptible to manipulation because that's the entire VOT thing. They manipulate everyone there, gaslight and shit. So this character was like really fucking stupid. She changed teams for absolutely no reason because in season 4 she was dead set on helping Homelander, and then come season 5 suddenly she wants Homelander to like end the world, and then she doesn't do it. She all of a sudden turns on Homelander and then wants to lose her power. What happened? She wanted Homelander to end the world so she could go in her bunker and read books or shit. And then here, she actually wants to lose her smarts. So I'm guessing that they like missed something with this character. Like they didn't know what to do. Basically, the end of the season, like episode 8, they went with all of the safe moves, like all of the safe decisions. Give it the good ending, give it the safe ending, have Sister Sage, get her happy ending. So it's kind of I thought it was like really stupid. So I like this one. I like this fight scene because they didn't give him
We're seeing you like
the
Merman
8
who wouldn't
treatment,
even
right?
piss on you.
Yeah. So what happened to like the Deep being a fast swimmer, right? Okay. With the Deep, I'm happy that they didn't go with the A-Train redemption route. Okay. Annie actually becomes actually has been the bigger character, like the bigger person compared to the Deep. You know, she didn't even bring up what happened in the first episode of the entire series. Yeah, she doesn't bring it up. So all she says is the Deep should take responsibility for her actions. She actually gave him a chance to redeem himself, a better person and whatever. So, but because the Deep is fucking dumb, and there are some people like that. You give them a chance, but they just choose not to. They choose not to become a better person. They choose not to redeem themselves. So this was fitting fate for the Deep. But what happened to his power, where he can swim really fast? How did he even get caught by these sea creatures, right? And the way they turned on him really quickly because of the pipeline bullshit is kind of insane. I don't actually believe that they will turn on him that quickly. Okay. He was mourning them. He knows that Black Noir did it. I don't know how it got to the sea creatures that the Deep was the one who did it and not Black Noir. They should know that already. So I don't know how this term came about, but it's still a fitting fate for the Deep. They did the Deep right, but I guess it's whatever because it's just the Deep. It's not that deep, bro. All right, so we're down to the last two. Okay, a lot of people have a problem with this fight scene because it's supposed to be the season finale. We've been building up to Scorched Earth, right? So everyone was expecting something similar to when he lasered everyone in the crowd in a like it's not a dream sequence, but you know what I mean. So people were expecting that. I was expecting that before the season because the posters, the marketing all showed scorched earth, the White House is burning, homelanders in the sky, in outer space. We were thinking that he was gonna kill everyone. So I actually wanted to see him like do a major massacre before getting into this, but they didn't do it. So they went with like the safe route. This is like a Marvel ending instead of a DC ending. Honestly, the acting of these two guys is so perfect, bro. Like they play off each other so well. I always thought before that Homelander was like the best actor in this show, but Carl Urban is really good as well. They're equals. He doesn't have super speed. Yeah, these punches are insane, bro. Look at this. It's like Mortal Kombat. Here we go with the memes. All right. So a lot of people have a problem with
Dick,
this,
please,
with
I'll do
these
anything.
lines and this scene. Okay. A lot of people have a big problem with this, but people are forgetting that Homelander has been shown to be pathetic for like 3 or 4 seasons at this point. He was only, like good looking and strong in like season 1. So, um, he was always portrayed as this. We all know that Homelander is a pathetic man baby, a man child, ever since like season 2. So it should be no surprise for anyone that he would act like a bitch at the end when he doesn't have powers. He would never act like a bitch if he still has powers. He would never do it. But this is the first time ever that he's been this vulnerable. So how else would you react? You lost your entire strength, okay? And you're at the brink of death. So like what were people expecting, that he would still talk shit? Although he does kind of talk shit at the end. But yeah, this guy, this actor, man, Anthony Starr, his facial expressions are like movie level. His facial expressions, his line delivery, he like chucks out all of these memes. Even at the end, he's still chucking out. So he deserves like an award for this show. He carried this show like so much. I'd say Homelander right now is like an iconic character. This is the Superman 2025 movie poster. But I do wish that in this episode, I do wish that Homelander kind of finds out that he's on live TV. I do wish that he got that realization. Honestly, I was feeling bad for Homelander in this. I was feeling really bad. Look at this makeup work. Yeah, so for people that don't know, this is exactly how he dies. People have to remember, The Boys was never ever about superhero action. Okay? You have to think about it like that. From the first episode until the last one, it was never about superheroes fighting in the way that superheroes fought in Marvel movies and DC movies and shows. Okay? It was never about that. So they should have honestly never brought it up. Like it was gonna go down that way. The biggest fight that we had was Stormfront against the girls, and that was just like all punching. So they should have never built it up like that. Like, oh, we're gonna do Scorched Earth. If you think about it in that in retrospective, the show seems more like a political statement. What kind of political statement did you think that it was delivering? The lamest death ever? I would say it is a lame death, but it's a death that he deserved. He just died like the comic. So that's actually how it ended there. But I was expecting uh Homelander to rally all of the superheroes to the White House like they did in the comics and stuff. I didn't have a problem with it until if you think about it, they built it up wrong. So I would say it's a little bit of false advertising. But this is, in my opinion, the best scene because this is really what The Boys is about. It's about these two characters. Without getting into it, Split, you can easily draw parallels to who they're referencing and just overall corruption. I think I've heard about that. Some presidential comparisons and what. But in my opinion, because the comics, existed before all of this, and The Boys has been running since like before for a few years now. Especially as an outsider, as a non-American, I never got any like political commentary vibes from the show, but it does always take a jab at society as a whole. The use of social media, blah blah blah. The way they played the flight, the airplane crash video as AI was a good use of using today's trends and incorporating them into the show. I would understand why Americans would think that this was a political like statement, but for someone outside the U.S., it's whatever. But this really did it for me. This scene because Hugh is my favorite character. He has grown so much to be able to face Butcher, fight him one on one. Honestly, they didn't even need the Butcher to look at him like his brother. He didn't need to resemble Lenny or whatever. They could have just been good friends. I
You never
never
did.
thought
It's
that
already in you. Like,
they were like brothers
you
or
might have a
whatever.
broken.
But I like this because people needed to remember that Butcher was a bad guy. He was never a good guy. In fact, he even kills the boys in the comics. Yeah, he basically wanted Huey to stop him. Yeah, people need to remember that Butcher's like a tank. That hurt. Yeah, I felt bad for Huey in this. Yeah, I didn't like this scene. I didn't like this moment where he looked at him and then he remembered his brother or whatever. Yeah, they don't look anything alike. But yeah, Huey shooting Butcher and eventually like killing him is a good way to yeah. So he dies, right? Where's your goat, Soldier Boy? Exactly. They just put him in a cryopod and just waiting for his spin-off or whatever. So let's look at everything that they set up and then didn't like work on. So the first thing, okay, the very first thing, the V1. If you remember, the V1 makes you immortal. Okay? It makes you immortal, and Homelander actually gets the V1. I don't know if it made him stronger or whatever, but he was supposed to be immortal. Okay? So they set up that thing, and then Homelander got it. It was supposed to be like game over. But out of the blue, they were able to recreate Soldier Boy's, like V Blast or whatever. And it was weird because they were mainly focusing the entire like show on the virus killing Homelander. So by the end, they used, apparently you could just give Kimiko the chest blast for some reason. Like for some reason, they never even thought of it before. Remember, Soldier Boy like came out in season 3, and then they discovered that he had this blasting. So why weren't they working on recreating the blasting in season 4? In season 4, they were like working on the virus, okay? And then come season 5, they realized that the virus wouldn't work anymore because Homelander has the V1. And now all of a sudden they used the chest blast? Like, I don't get it. What happened? What happened in terms of, writing? Like, okay, now there are two ways to kill him, but instead of doing that, they gave Kimiko the chest blast to hit Homelander with, and then they were supposed to use the virus to kill every soup. And the way the vial works is like really weird. They always treat it like a nuke, like it was a small tube, and they're saying like it could kill every soup on the planet. But when they released it in the house, it was only contained in the house. So it was kind of confusing. Like, what were they really building up to? In terms of the fight, the final fight, they could have done more. They could have had Homelander actually like massacre a group of people. Like people outside the White House, they should have had people rioting outside. Just to give some of that Homelander rat, because we never got him killing anyone other than like in season 4 when he killed the people that basically abused him as a kid. So I don't know why they did that. Now that I'm looking back, was season 5 disappointing? I guess just because it was so good. Or the entire show was so good building up to it. Okay, and season 4 was really bad, and then season 5, kind of brought it back to basics, back to the season 1 vibes, and then they just I guess they did disappoint a little bit, but it's still a good show for me. It's still a must watch. They killed Old Father fast too. How did they kill Old Father again? Is it this? Oh yeah, this made no
After
sense.
Hugh.
But yeah, this made no sense. How they did this. They just copied the Black Bolt's death from Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, right? This is exactly how Black Bolt died. What mouth, and then boom. Oh, and I think they had a character in season 5 whose balls elongated. How many times were they gonna do it, right? They did it like 3 times with Ezekiel, with Love Sausage, and the third guy. That joke is only funny like the first time, and then they kept doing it. So that was kind of lame. Like, what was the point of they couldn't think of anything else other than uh the small the termite guy going in a dick and exploding it. So I would say the boys is like an 8 out of 10. It could have been a 9. It could have been a 10, but they kind of dropped the ball by the end. Um, the entire show, not season 5, not just season. Yeah, there's nothing like the boys. Even if the closest thing to the boys is I would say Invincible, right? But I would say it's an 8 just because of the premise. The premise alone makes it an 8. Okay, the premise alone makes the boys a must watch. So I would make it an 8. But in terms of quality, by the end it was like a 7. The first two seasons was like a 10. I would say season 1 was a 10, season 2 was like a 9, season 3 was an 8, and then season 4 was a 6, and then season 5 was a 7. 7.5. So yeah, let's go to the calculator. Let's see what this says. So I said it's a 10, a 9, an 8, a 7, and a 7 point. Honestly, that's like way too generous. 10, 9, 7, 6, and 7 point. There we go. And then let's divide it by. Yeah, it's a 7.9. So it's almost an 8. So yeah, season 5 of The Boys, I'll give it a 7. Was it good? Was fine. It's still a must watch. Maybe the ending is controversial. I would say people would say that it's not as good as they thought it would be, and it could be. It's never fair to use a 7 on a 0 to 10 scale. Yeah, because people always rate stuff like 5 to 10 anyway. So, what you mean is a 7 is basically a 5, right? I think that's what you mean. It's like a 3 out of 5. Yeah. So, all right. So let's do it in fives. So it's a 5, a 4, a 2, a 2, and a 3. So it's a 3.2 out of 5. It's a 3.2 out of 5 show. Wow, that's actually really low if you think about it. 3.2 out of 5. That's actually really low. You know what? You're right. I'm not going to use a 0 to 10 scale anymore because people are too, generous with the scaling. So it's never like, oh, this is a 4 or a 5. Whenever a 0 to 5 is given, it basically means it's like a 1 out of, a 0 to 5 out of 10. It's basically a 1 out of 5. You give it a good 4.9 out of 10, the entire show or the season? Too much filler? Yeah, I hated Frenchie's storyline. They didn't know what to do with him. Oh, and Mother's Milk not getting his get back at what's his name? Soldier Boy? Nah. Kimiko kind of had a weird arc, but I guess she's not a character at this point. She's like a weapon. She doesn't do anything. So, but I did enjoy this show. I do see some parallels to like real world events. So it was pretty funny. It did give us a lot of memes. So as a whole, 4.9 out of 10, less than half. It's still a must-watch show for me because I have like really good memories of it. I've watched every season with my brother, who's like my best friend. So I really enjoyed it, especially when it came out at the time. It came out like at the tail end of the MCU, so superhero commentary was a big thing. It was like a dissection of like the superhero genre because DC was falling apart, the MCU was ending, they didn't know what to do with the superhero genre. And then these two bangers come out, The Boys and Invincible. So I would say, yeah, it's still a really good show for me. It has a as someone who loves Marvel and DC, this just hit the right spot in my opinion. Well, that's season 5. It was kind of weird. It was a weird ride. I don't think anything's gonna be on this level anymore in terms of what a show can try to do. It's like the weirdest show ever. It was brave enough to do things that you never thought would be shown on TV, but they didn't go hard enough at the end. That's the problem.